the Tokyo Bay. An ambitious project that cost humanity a staggering $10 billion. This immense sum was invested in an audacious dream, to construct a vital roadway in a location nature seemed determined to prohibit. One might assume modern engineering is limitless, capable of building bridges across any strait by merely driving concrete piles deeper. However, with this particular bay, the reality proved to be entirely different, presenting unforeseen obstacles. Beneath the surface, there was no solid rock, but a multi-meter layer of treacherous, viscous silt, ready to swallow anything. Of the 15-kilometer crossing, a remarkable 10 kilometers had to be submerged 60 meters deep, cutting through utterly unstable ground. Nature itself offered no respite, making construction incredibly challenging at every turn. Constant typhoons, near-zero visibility, and persistent seismic threats turned each day of work into a desperate struggle for survival. We will reveal how Japanese engineers ultimately managed to forge a stable, artificial foundation over this profound underwater chasm. And by the end, you'll uncover the unique technology that salvaged the entire endeavor when it seemed the ocean had definitively triumphed. Let's now descend into the depths of Tokyo Bay to explore the circumstances that necessitated such a monumental project. In the late 20th century, Japan's cities were undergoing explosive growth. Factories operated at maximum capacity, and ports were overwhelmed. This rapid expansion led to an incessant daily struggle with endless traffic jams, trapping commuters for hours on end. If your journey required traveling from the massive industrial zone of Kawasaki to a residential area on the opposite side of Tokyo Bay, a true test of endurance awaited. Though these locations were geographically close in a straight line, drivers were forced to undertake an enormous, time-consuming detour, circumventing the entire. This arduous journey would consume a grueling hour and a half, forcing people to endure dense traffic. Beyond the time lost, drivers were forced to breathe in noxious exhaust fumes for hours within the suffocating gridlock. Major corporations incurred substantial daily losses due to merchandise trucks being idled and delayed. Even worse, emergency vehicles often failed to reach patients in time, critically delayed by congested bridges. It was against this backdrop that the government made a remarkably audacious decision. They resolved to construct a completely new transportation route, directly spanning across the vast ocean. Engineers initially drafted plans for an elegant, extensive bridge, stretching from one shore to the other. It appeared, at first glance, that the project would proceed smoothly according to these designs. However, the constructors soon encountered a formidable and unexpected challenge in their path. When the public finally saw the initial blueprints for this ambitious roadway, peculiar rumors began to circulate. Many openly voiced suspicions that it was merely a clever ploy to misappropriate public funds. After all, attempting to build a bridge in such a perilous location seemed utterly irrational to them. Others whispered about a different agenda, suggesting the government was secretly searching the bay's depths. They speculated about lost historical treasures or the wreckage of classified military vessels, all under the guise of construction. The general populace simply couldn't believe this immense undertaking was solely for saving a single hour of travel. The initial designs for a grand, continuous bridge stretching across the entire bay seemed promising. However, the construction team soon encountered significant practical hurdles. Despite the public's doubts, the real impetus behind this colossal project was simple: alleviating severe traffic congestion on existing routes. It quickly became apparent that constructing a traditional bridge spanning the entire waterway was an engineering impossibility. There were two primary, insurmountable challenges preventing the straightforward construction of such a structure. Firstly, the massive Haneda International Airport sat directly on the shoreline, with aircraft constantly taking off and landing over the water. The towering supports and cables of a conventional bridge would have presented a fatal obstruction to heavy passenger jets traversing these flight paths. The second major impediment was Tokyo Bay itself, renowned as one of the world's busiest maritime arteries. Enormous oil tankers, some as vast as city blocks, regularly navigated these waters, making constant passage essential. Impeding the free movement of these vital shipping lanes was absolutely out of the question. Faced with these constraints, the engineers conceived an ingenious, unconventional solution. Their plan involved building a bridge for only the initial third of the distance, precisely where aircraft maintained higher altitudes. Beyond this point, the broad highway would then dramatically descend, disappearing deep beneath the water's surface. This innovative design meant the road would transition from an elevated structure to an extensive underwater tunnel system. Yet, Creating a resilient and secure subaqueous passage presented its own set of formidable engineering demands. To construct such a reliable underwater tunnel, exceptionally robust and durable materials were absolutely critical. For a truly dependable subaquatic passage, a foundation of very firm, rocky ground was an absolute prerequisite. However, the ocean held a particularly unwelcome surprise in store for the project's engineers and builders. Upon their initial descent to the bay floor to collect soil samples, the first team of divers was immediately struck with fear. The water surrounding them was incredibly turbid, reducing visibility to almost nothing. A diver couldn't even discern their own hand in the pervasive darkness, yet the true terror lay further below. Instead of the anticipated solid rock or compact sand, their feet encountered an immense, dark, swamp-like substance. It proved to be a remarkably thick stratum of extremely viscous and pliable mud. Picture a colossal, deep bowl filled to the brim with fluid pancake batter. Now, imagine being tasked with placing a massive, multi-story concrete structure directly onto that unstable mixture. Any weighty object, whether a metal pry bar or a concrete slab, would simply submerge into this mire, disappearing without a trace indefinitely. Commencing such an intricate construction project on this type of seabed was deemed entirely impractical and impossible. The engineering team quickly grasped that conventional construction principles simply would not apply in these unique circumstances. Among the local fishing community, terrifying ancient legends and folklore were commonly shared. They earnestly recounted tales of the bay's bottom being cursed by malevolent ocean spirits. These entities, they believed, would relentlessly drag any vessel down into the dark, frigid depths. Imagine a giant, deep bowl filled with liquid pancake batter. Trying to build a heavy concrete skyscraper on that is essentially what they faced. Any substantial object, be it a metal crowbar or a concrete block, would simply sink into this mire, vanishing forever without a trace. Beyond the ancient myths, whispers circulated online, suggesting the viscous black mass was actually a covert dumping ground for chemical waste. These internet rumors claimed the discharge originated from colossal factories situated along the shoreline, polluting the bay. Many people genuinely believed that deep beneath the mud lay hidden, vast toxic lakes. They feared these hidden pools could dissolve even the strongest steel and most durable concrete within a mere couple of months. The actual situation, however, proved to be simpler in its geological origin, though no less daunting to overcome. For millennia, powerful rivers had continuously carried soft sand and fine silt into this bay. Over time, these deposits accumulated, forming a 30-meter-thick layer of sticky, jelly-like mud across the seabed. If engineers had simply attempted to place heavy, massive concrete tunnel pipes there, they would have been swept away by the first underwater current. Not only that, but the immense pressure from the surrounding gelatinous muck would have effortlessly crushed the pipes. Recognizing this unique challenge, Japanese engineers conceived an ingenious plan to solidify this treacherous, bog-like seabed. They deployed specialized maritime vessels, which then lowered enormous steel drilling mixers deep down to the ocean floor. These powerful machines aggressively burrowed into the silt, mixing the soft, unstable mud with dense construction cement under extreme pressure. Through this innovative method, they successfully formed hundreds of solid, wide stone pillars far beneath the water's surface, finally stabilizing the ground. With the seabed now stable, a new, significant challenge emerged for the ambitious project. To construct such an extensive underwater tunnel, engineers urgently needed a level working platform situated directly in the vast, turbulent ocean. Their innovative solution was to essentially construct their very own artificial mountain right in the middle of the bay. Soon, hundreds of massive construction vessels converged upon the deep bay, initiating the colossal task. Daily, these ships meticulously lowered colossal steel pipes into the frigid waters, along with millions of tons of ordinary sand. Despite relentless waves and chilling winds, a colossal gray structure gradually began to ascend from the depths of the ocean. This imposing edifice was an artificial island, which the Japanese engineers christened Omehotaru. Its name, Omehotaru, translates evocatively to sea firefly in English. The finished island boasted a considerable size, spanning an area equivalent to several large football fields. Visually, it resembled a colossal, circular concrete vessel, seemingly anchored permanently in the deep expanse of the bay. This unique structure quickly became the indispensable focal point for the entire complex engineering endeavor. It was here that the wide highway gracefully descended from its elevated bridge section. From this point, the road seamlessly transitioned, smoothly disappearing beneath the dark, encompassing waters. The sudden appearance of such a massive island in the open water genuinely alarmed many ordinary citizens. Its sheer scale and unconventional location sparked considerable apprehension among the populace. This massive gray structure, slowly rising from the water, was officially identified as an artificial island. The Japanese engineers bestowed upon this creation the name Umahotaru, which beautifully translates to sea firefly. In terms of sheer size, it measured up to several vast football fields in total area. Visually, it resembled an immense, circular concrete vessel, permanently settled in the heart of the deep bay. Online, people quickly began to speculate wildly about its true purpose, generating numerous theories. Many actively posted claims that it served as a clandestine military installation, complete with hidden missile silos and submarine berths. Conversely, another group firmly believed this heavily reinforced concrete island was a survival bunker. They envisioned it as a refuge for the exceptionally wealthy, intended for use in the event of a global catastrophe. In reality, the island was designed to fulfill a far simpler and entirely peaceful function. It served as the massive, weighty anchor for the entire sophisticated underwater system. To prevent the island from being swept away by storms, the builders employed colossal steel cylinders. Each of these formidable cylinders was comparable in size to a multi-story residential building. Workers drove these cylinders deep into the seabed using powerful, heavy hammers, then filled their interiors with incredibly strong concrete. The island was meticulously engineered to effortlessly withstand the direct impact of the most violent typhoons, keeping its occupants safe. With the island finally complete, the next critical phase of the monumental project was ready to begin. With the island complete, the next monumental task was to excavate the tunnel itself, deep beneath the ocean floor. Standard excavation equipment was utterly insufficient for this challenge. What was needed was a true steel behemoth. To carve a wide, secure pathway through the dense seabed, engineers commissioned 8 of the world's most massive tunneling machines. Each of these colossal machines rivaled the height of a 5-story building, an engineering marvel in itself. At their front, enormous flat discs, bristling with thousands of razor-sharp steel teeth, rotated relentlessly. These immense pieces of machinery were transported in sections aboard large cargo vessels. They were then meticulously assembled and lowered into massive concrete shafts, both on the artificial island and the mainland. The moment their powerful, rumbling engines ignited, the ground across the construction sites began to tremble violently. Like giant metallic worms, these circular steel titans slowly began to bore their way into the subaquatic earth. Their relentless work took place at an astonishing depth of 60 meters beneath the surface of the water. Inside the tunneling chambers, the working conditions were nothing short of excruciatingly harsh. The air was stiflingly hot, permeated by intense humidity, and dominated by the deafening roar of the machinery. A constant dread hung over the crew, fearing that the forward bulkhead might fail, unleashing the full force of the ocean. The sheer scale of these machines so unnerved the public that sensationalist tabloids began to publish outlandish stories. These bizarre reports fueled widespread speculation, painting a dramatic and often distorted picture of the colossal undertaking. The formidable steel disc at the front of the machine relentlessly pulverized the solid ground, transforming it into a thick, liquid sludge. A sophisticated network of stout pipes then combined this muddy mixture with fresh water, swiftly pumping it away to the surface. This ingenious system ensured the colossal machine wouldn't become mired in its own debris, but the most crucial work unfolded directly behind the rotating cutter head. The machine wasn't merely excavating an empty void, it was simultaneously installing enormous, curved concrete segments along the tunnel's walls. As it advanced slowly, it meticulously assembled incredibly robust tunnel linings, forming them piece by piece. This continuous construction was essential to prevent millions of tons of salt water from crushing the newly opened space. However, if the sharp steel cutting teeth broke against an unexpectedly hard rock, daring divers had to don heavy, specialized suits. These brave individuals would then venture directly into the murky waters ahead of the drill, a perilous undertaking. The crushing pressure in that environment was so immense it could easily obliterate them in an instant. They were forced to manually unbolt the heavy, damaged components and meticulously install new ones by hand. For many arduous months, the two tunneling machines slowly crept towards each other, until a new, insidious threat emerged. If thousands of vehicles were to enter a long, enclosed tube, their noxious exhaust fumes would quickly turn it into a deadly trap within minutes. It became urgently clear that the tunnel needed to be equipped with a breathing system, allowing it to ventilate properly. Should you travel this route today, you would notice something quite peculiar emerging from the beautiful blue water right in the middle of your journey. A tiny, man-made island protrudes, topped by two imposing striped towers of differing heights, resembling sleek sails or futuristic film props. However, Northwest Vehicular Road leads to this tiny island in the middle of the sea. Indeed, you will find no casual visitors ever setting foot on its shores. This isolated maritime structure is officially known as the Tower of Winds. Without these two critical towers, the entire massive and expensive project would instantly become a perilous trap for motorists. Drivers would simply succumb to asphyxiation within the enclosed tunnel space. The tower's peculiar aesthetic immediately gave rise to a multitude of preposterous urban legends among the public. Many people confidently asserted they were colossal, concealed antennas designed for weather manipulation. Others even speculated they served as clandestine communication hubs for extraterrestrial beings. Zealous conspiracy theorists actively propagated online that these towers continuously emit special waves. These alleged waves, they claimed, supposedly suppressed the will of drivers far below in the tunnel. This, according to the theorists, allowed the government to effortlessly control the populace. In truth, these towering structures perform a remarkably simple, yet absolutely indispensable, task. They are, in fact, a unique and powerful ventilation system, extending an impressive 90 meters deep underwater. The smaller tower acts as the inhaler, constantly drawing in clean, fresh sea air. Powerful fans then propel it deep down towards the vehicles. Conversely, the taller tower operates like a colossal vacuum cleaner. It powerfully extracts noxious, polluted air from the tunnel, expelling it high into the atmosphere. The tower's peculiar, slanted design was not merely for aesthetics, but served a crucial purpose. This unique shape allowed them to effectively capture the strong sea winds from any direction, harnessing their power for free. By doing so, the engineers managed to save an enormous amount of electricity every single day. While the tunnel was now successfully cleared of harmful gases, another immense challenge still loomed. Japan's volatile natural environment had the potential to shatter the thick concrete into fragments in an instant. The nation is situated in an unfortunate location where the earth frequently and violently shakes. The construction workers toiled under constant, intense pressure, their nerves perpetually frayed. Every single laborer understood that even a tiny crack in the concrete ceiling from a powerful earthquake would immediately lead to water, under tremendous pressure, gushing into the tunnel. In such a catastrophic scenario, those deep underground would have absolutely no chance of a swift escape. They were faced with the seemingly impossible task of achieving what appeared to be unattainable. Their mission was to construct a robust, lengthy tunnel in a place where the ground quivered like fruit jelly on a plate during frequent tremors. This meant building an unyielding structure in an inherently unstable environment. Local inhabitants, from ancient times, held a deep-seated belief that directly beneath their islands lay a powerful, perhaps mythical, force influencing the very ground they stood upon. The construction workers endured relentless, intense pressure, as the ground in this unfortunate location frequently trembled with great force. Each individual laborer understood the critical danger. Should a powerful tremor create even a minor crack in the concrete overhead, water would instantly breach the tunnel under immense pressure. In such a catastrophic event, those deep within the structure would be left with absolutely no chance for a quick escape. Local inhabitants, since ancient times, held a strong conviction that a colossal, mythical catfish resided directly beneath their islands. They believed its mighty tail strikes were the true cause of the severe devastation observed on the surface. Some individuals openly voiced their concern, suggesting that the builders' constant, noisy drills were actively enraging this enormous aquatic beast. Furthermore, disturbing rumors spread widely about the powerful vibrations from the non-stop, heavy drilling. There was fear these vibrations could accidentally generate a colossal tidal wave. Such a massive tsunami, it was whispered, would then simply wash away all the vibrant cities situated along the bay's coastline. The principal engineers, however, possessed a clear understanding of a fundamental law of physics. They knew that if a long, rigid pipe faced a strong underground shock, it would inevitably fracture in two, much like a brittle, dry piece of pasta. This crucial insight led them to conceive an ingeniously simple, yet brilliant, design. They engineered this massive concrete tunnel to be inherently flexible, rather than rigidly fixed. The concrete sections weren't just tightly bonded, they were meticulously connected with thousands of specialized, flexible rubber seals and robust steel springs. Consequently, when an earthquake strikes, this enormous structure doesn't break. Instead, it gently bends and moves in sync with the quaking earth, resembling a giant gray serpent. Beyond flexibility, these ingenious elastic seams served another crucial purpose. They ensured that no salt water could penetrate the tunnel, even amidst the most violent seismic events. With these intricate design challenges successfully overcome, the project advanced to its most demanding stage. Two colossal boring machines commenced their monumental journey from opposing shores of Tokyo Bay. They meticulously carved their path, inching towards each other through the murky, dense mud beneath the seabed. These engineering marvels had already endured immense water pressure and successfully navigated dozens of powerful earthquakes. Yet, the most critical and final hurdle still lay ahead, threatening to unravel years of painstaking work. The engineers working above ground faced an unimaginable challenge. Their complex calculations had to be flawlessly precise. Even a deviation of just a couple of centimeters would mean the tunnel sections wouldn't align, rendering the entire endeavor a catastrophic failure. Billions of dollars would then be nothing more than submerged, muddy debris, a monument to a miscalculation. On the pivotal day of the machine's scheduled meeting, an eerie silence fell over the main control room. The air was thick with apprehension. No one dared to even breathe too loudly, fearing to break the spell of quiet anticipation. The monitors displayed the final millimeters ticking away until the long-awaited contact deep beneath the dark waters. Many skeptics harbored serious doubts about the entire project's feasibility. They questioned how two massive structures could possibly connect blindly through thick mud and water with such pinpoint accuracy. The idea of achieving such a precise alignment, hidden from sight, seemed utterly improbable to many observers. The most critical challenge, however, still loomed large. A slight miscalculation of just a couple of centimeters by surface engineers would prevent the tunnels from connecting. Billions of dollars would then become nothing more than submerged, muddy debris. On the pivotal day when the machines were set to meet, an absolute silence pervaded the main control room. Everyone present was too apprehensive to even take a deep breath. These naysayers loudly proclaimed the whole endeavor was merely a fabricated spectacle, designed for evening news reports. They alleged that divers had manually maneuvered the heavy pipes through the murky water, putting their own lives at extreme risk. Significant rumors circulated, suggesting the machines had missed their target. They claimed the government frantically poured tons of concrete to conceal their immense failure. However, genuine engineering relies on precise mathematical principles. To guarantee the machine's accurate alignment, engineers employed advanced lasers and acoustic radars capable of penetrating dense ground. Furthermore, to prevent an influx of water during the critical final moments, they devised a remarkably ingenious strategy. They injected thousands of liters of extremely cold liquid nitrogen into the soft earth surrounding the meeting point. This effectively froze the ocean floor, transforming it into a colossal block of solid ice. When the colossal machines finally converged deep underground and breached the final barrier, with the ground stabilized, the colossal machines finally converged deep underground, breaching the final, frozen barrier. Their precision was astonishing. They missed their target by less than the thickness of a small coin. This moment marked an absolute triumph of human ingenuity and determination over the formidable power of nature. The route that once required a long 90 minutes of travel could now be traversed in precisely 15. We have witnessed how engineers successfully froze liquid mud deep beneath the ocean floor. They also managed to construct a massive artificial island directly within the turbulent, cold ocean. Furthermore, they created an intelligent tunnel specifically designed to flex and adapt during powerful earthquakes. The Japanese Seikan Tunnel is much more than just an incredibly expensive transportation route. It stands as a profound, tangible demonstration that almost nothing is impossible for humanity when working together. However, this magnificent project also serves as a poignant reminder of a vital truth. We ultimately could not fully dominate or command the immense power of the great ocean. Instead, we simply learned to navigate beneath it with utmost care and absolute safety, moving on tiptoes. This approach reflects a deep respect for the overwhelming natural forces that surround us every single day. What other incredible feats of engineering have left you utterly amazed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this story compelling, please like the video and subscribe for more extraordinary tales of human achievement.